Rob Key and Brendan Nash both struck centuries as Kent took complete control of their LV County Championship match with Surrey and Canterbury on the second day there. Surrey had a stop-start opening day in which many of their batsmen got in and then got out. They resumed on the second morning on 276 for 8 and were soon all out. Stuart Meeker was LBW to Mitch Claydon, and Doug Bollinger then bowled Jay Dernbach as it took the home side only 7 overs to get the job done, with Surrey dismissed for a below par 285. Kent will have learned one thing from their time in the field as their openers Key and Sam Northeast came out to reply, and that was that this pitch was no minefield. Too many Surrey batsmen had given their wickets away with shots they would not want to play again in the same circumstance. Only Graham Smith and Dernbach had been dismissed in single figures, which again proved that getting a start was a real possibility. Key and Northeast knew then that if they could see off the new ball, then their side may well be in business. That they were able to do with very few problems, as they were quickly putting their side into the ascendancy. The Surrey attack was certainly not bowling as well as their opponents either. And that meant that Northeast was able to secure his first 50 of the season, one made off 75 balls, including 5 fours. He and his partners soon had their partnership into 3 figures too, as Kent dominated the morning session. Northeast was out shortly after the restart. He went on the pull against Meeker, but top-edged only as far as Anish Kapil, who took a splendid running catch to remove the batsman for 53 at 101 for 1. So another man had failed to make the most of his start. Could Key now buck that trend? He worked this ball from Matt Dunn to third man to pick up his 7th 4 to take him to his half-century of 89 deliveries. He now needed to delve into his many years of experience to make the most of what he'd thus far achieved. It looked as if he may be out though in the next over as Dunn and those behind the slips went up convincingly for a catch at the wicket. It was judged that Key's bat had brushed his pad rather than the ball. Dunn was soon able to celebrate, however, as he got a delivery to nip back to Fox Daniel Bell Drummond, who lost his off stump after deciding to leave the ball alone. He went for 11 at 131 for 2, but that was the last success Surrey were to have with the ball for 42 overs, as Key and Nash took their side well ahead in this game. From a distance at least, this pitch looked to be a good one to bat on, and good enough for the Surrey skipper to choose to bat first. Leicestershire scored plenty of runs here in the other game played so far this summer in Canterbury, and with the sun shining, all was set rather nicely for the current batting side. Neither batsman offered a chance of note as they took the total beyond 200 in the 53rd over and now had the thought of a big first innings lead in their minds. It appeared that Surrey could do nothing at all to stop their hosts from achieving that. Nash, like Northeast and Key before him, made it to a 50 for the first time this year. The left-hander took a couple of runs through mid-wicket off Jason Roy, who was employed as the first change bowler in this Surrey attack. Nash had required 71 balls for his half-century, from which he'd found the boundary on 9 occasions. Surrey were by now in desperate need of a wicket, but there seemed little chance of them getting one as Nash opened up now and played plenty of shots. He knew that his side were now in the box seat in this match and he wanted to make the most of it. He had seen Key move into the 90s by now and he wanted to follow suit. The closest he came to getting out, in fact, is when Dunn hit him on the pads. It was close, but was perhaps just a fraction too high. Key, one of the most laid-back cricketers on the circuit, can't get too nervous in the 90s these days. This 4 took him just one more shot away from the 52nd 100 of his excellent career. And it was reached in real style with a delightful on-drive off Dunn. At last, a batsman had made the most of the conditions, with Key getting to 3 figures off 161 balls, with 12 fours included. It was the batsman's 8th championship century against Surrey and was made shortly after he passed 18,000 first-class runs. With both Key and Nash now seeing the ball as if it was the size of a planet, the runs kept on coming. Surrey were now relying on one of these two to make a mistake at the crease, but that looked unlikely as they both continued to pick off the 4 balls with ease. With only 2 men back in the hutch, Kent were ahead, and with so much time left in this contest and the weather for the most part set fair for the remainder, the chances of getting a massive lead was now on the cards. The 300 was closing in by now and Nash moved on to 99, just a run away from matching his captain's efforts. He swept Zafar Ansari for the single he required to reach three figures for the 18th time in his career. His turn had occupied only 125 balls in just more than 2 hours, and it included 17 boundaries. He celebrated his achievement by smashing Ansari for a maximum, as the 300 was brought up. Kent would have wanted many more than that though. Both Nash and Key will in the end be a little disappointed that they were out before the close. On 126, Nash edged Ansari behind, and Rory Burns, deputising for Stephen Davis behind the stumps, gleefully held on after a juggle. That ended a third wicket partnership of 197, and Key then fell victim to the second new ball with a tired looking drive off Mika to Dominic Sibley. Key was also out for 126. Ben Harmison and Darren Stevens then saw out the last quarter of an hour. Surrey will take heart from those two late wickets, but they may still have a lot to do to turn this game around. Kent will resume their first innings on the third morning on 355 for 4, and that gives them a lead already of 70.